So you've chosen to host WordPress yourself, and you're ready to install it. There are still a few decisions you have to make on exactly how you're going to go about it. You do have a few options. Now, manual installation is where you download WordPress, you upload the files, you set up everything yourself. That's what we're going to cover in this course. Another option that's available to you is to have your web host install it for you. Almost all web hosting companies have some kind of system in place that will let you do this. The only difficulty with it is that when you're doing everything yourself, you can do it on your schedule and you know exactly what's happening the whole time. If your web host does it for you, there will usually be a delay of some sort. It could be as much as a day. Usually it's just 10 or 15 minutes, but you don't know what's happening and you don't know when it's done. So if you want things done right away, you might want to do it yourself. But if you do want your web host to do it for you, you can look for things like these. Pair.com, a web host that I really like, has something called the Software Installation Manager. GoDaddy, who are of course very popular, have the hosting connection. And A2 Hosting, a hosting company out of Ann Arbor, Michigan that I also like, has something called Softaculous. These are just examples of what hosting companies will call their services that install pieces of software for you. WordPress is usually one of many options that they'll make available. So it does take a lot of the hassle out of the installation for you, as long as you don't mind the waiting. If you are going to install WordPress yourself, you next have to figure out where you're going to put it on your web hosting account. One thing to note up front is that it is entirely possible to move an installation of WordPress from one location to another. It will just save you a little bit of hassle if you don't have to do that. But here are the options. First, you can install WordPress in a folder on your web hosting account, which would then be accessible at yoursite.com/blog or whatever the name of the folder is where you installed it. It's relatively easy to change from a setup like this to one of the others that I'm going to go over. So this is a strategy that's often used for people who have an existing website and want to build a WordPress website alongside that on the same web hosting account. Another possibility is to create a subdomain on your main domain, in this case blog.example.com or what have you. This is a way that you can install WordPress alongside an existing website without having to show a folder in the URL. That's what we're going to do in this demo. v2b.shooflydesign.org is where I'll be installing WordPress alongside my main site, shooflydesign.org. And finally, the root domain option, which is just to install WordPress right on your main domain, example.com, www.example.com, or what have you. This is usually what you would do if you're using WordPress as a general CMS for an entire website, or if your entire website is, in fact, a blog. And so that is an overview of the various options and choices that you will need to make when installing WordPress.